I give the floor to the distinguished delegate of Gabon.
Mr. Chair, I have the honor to introduce for adoption draft resolution entitled Report of the Human Rights Council, contained in document A/C.3/72/L.62 on behalf of the 54 member states of the United Nations African Group. As is traditionally the practice since the African Group has been to present the initiative in the third committee, I would like to reiterate the importance the African Group attaches to this draft resolution and to the Framework General Assembly Resolution 60/251, including its subsequent institution building package, which marked the foundation of the Human Rights Council and its mandate. The African Group is also mindful that the Human Rights Council was created as a subsidiary body of the General Assembly, hence the imperative need for the Council to report on an annual basis to the universal membership of the General Assembly. In this context, the group remains firmly committed towards ensuring that the provision of OP5, C, I, and J of the General Assembly Resolution 60/251 are adhered to. The African Group subscribes to the principles of constructive and genuine dialogue and cooperation as contained in the Framework General Assembly Resolution 60/251. The group considered the establishment of the Human Rights Council as a milestone in the global efforts aimed at the promotion and protection of all human rights for all, based on the constructive cooperation approach that avoids selectivity and double standards, and which promotes human rights and fundamental freedoms through a better understanding of traditional values of humankind. The African Group looks forward to the adoption of this resolution, which takes note of the reports of the Council and its addendum, including the addendum thereto and its recommendations contained therein. Mr. Chair, the African Group is convinced that the Universal Periodic Review remains the most distinctive mechanism of universal application to assist states in fulfilling their human rights obligations and ensures equal treatment for every country where their human rights situations are assessed. In our view, the mechanism remains relevant and key towards the promotion and protection of human rights. The group welcomes the third cycle of the Universal Periodic Review and would like to reaffirm the need to preserve the cooperation nature and principle of dialogue of this mechanism. The group is concerned that the funding of the UPR Trust Fund remains modest and firmly believes that it is crucial that the UN voluntarily trust fund for financial and technical assistance for the implementation of the UPR recommendations be properly resourced for the purpose of assisting states to develop national capacity and expertise for the implementation of the accepted recommendations. Mr. Chair, the principle of non-discrimination and equality are two faces of the same coin. They are, indeed, cross-cutting principles in the vast areas related to the full realization of all human rights and fundamental freedoms for all. Such principles are well entrenched in the Charter of the United Nations and internationally agreed human rights instruments. They all reaffirm the faith in fundamental human rights, in the dignity and worth of the human person, and in the equal rights of men and women without distinction. The group remain concerned that the attempt to introduce the United Nations, notion that have no legal foundations in any international human rights instrument. Our alarm does not merely stem from concerns about the lack of legal grounds or that the said statement delved into matters which fall essentially within the domestic jurisdictions of states, counter to the commitment to the United Nations Charter to respect the sovereignty of states and the principle of non-intervention. Mr. Chair, the group reiterates the Vienna Declaration and Program for Action, which affirm the right to development and universal and alienable rights and integral part of every human rights. The group, therefore, welcomes the decision of Human Rights Council Resolution 33/14 to appoint a special rapporteur on the right to development 30 years after the adoption of the Declaration on the Rights to Development. It is incumbent upon the Council in discharging its mandate to firmly ground its work on universality objectivity, and non-selectivity in the consideration of human rights issues. The African Group presents this resolution to express its continued support to the important work of the Council and looks forward to the adoption of this resolution by consensus, a matter that would provide a message for strong support to the Council and invites all member states to support and co-sponsor this resolution. Thank you.
I thank Gabon, and I also wish to express my gratitude for them having heeded my call and that of the Bureau by not having made a formal introductory statement of the draft resolution.